All right, you can use it. No rules on the back.
Are we ready? Yes. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Kinder High 2020 election. Before we even start, I'm going to go over a couple ground rules, okay? Just a couple things for everybody in here, not necessarily the candidates, but for the audience as well. The first thing is please make sure your cell phone is quiet. It's on silent. It does not ring during their discussion. The second is please allow time for the mic to transition from person to person. No clapping or applauding in between or while they're, more or less while they're talking or while the mic is transitioning to another person. We only have one microphone, so if Abby has a question for, say, Lacey, please clap. You are welcome to clap or cheer in between. However, do not cheer whenever she's trying to speak. Make sure she's finished or whoever is talking is finished totally with their conversation before you want to applaud. And I say that to say please only clap or applaud when it's appropriate and everybody's finished talking. Do not cut them off. Please let them finish. Okay? Everyone understand? Yes, sir. Awesome. So we'll start first with allowing the candidates each to introduce each other and introduce themselves in a small little 30-second introduction statement. To start it off, we'll start with the Jedi Order, Mr. Chandler LaCour.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank everyone for showing up. This is a big campaign, something that I'm taking very serious. I want y'all to all know that if you vote for me, that I will do everything in my power, me and my Vice President here, Brock Schmitz, to make sure that this America continues to be the greatest country of all time. Thank you.
Next will be the Blue Dogs, Miss Abigail Earl.
Hi. Hey everybody, my name's Abby Earl. I'm your 2020 presidential candidate. I'd like to thank you all for coming out today, and I hope I can get y'all's vote.
Please, guys, refrain from booing, all right? If you do not want to applaud, that's fine, but no booing. At least not in the introduction. Next, Miss Kara Pousson and New Horizons.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming out today. I'm Kara Pousson, and I'm running with the New Horizons. I hope I can get your vote. I didn't prepare anything.
Our next candidate is Miss Madison Young with the Green Beans.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to ask Siri a question real quick. Hey, Siri. Who will win the 2020 presidential candidacy?
I found this on the web. For the 2020 presidential election, it is predicted that Madison Young and the Green Bean
Our next candidate is Morgan Schoenrock with the House Party.
Hey y'all, I don't really know how I'm gonna beat that, but it's true, that was clever. I'd like to thank you all for being here today. It's a much bigger outcome than I would have ever expected. And just remember, for our tomorrow, we take action today. Thank you.
Our next candidate, Ms. Chloe Oliver, Vice President, standing in for President Lance Willis with the Bayou Bugs.
Hey everyone, thank y'all for coming out today. We didn't expect this many people, but it's great that y'all turned out. I'm speaking today on behalf of our president, Lance Willis, and we are with the Bayou Bugs. We hope that you will vote for us to help you light the way to success in America in 2020.
Our next candidate with the American People's Party, Mr. Jack Roberts.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this first presidential candidate debate between the American People's Party, the Bayou Bugs, the Demogorgons, the House Party, the Green Beans, the Jedi Order, and New Horizon, as well as the Blue Dogs. I would like to thank all of y'all for coming out. I love seeing familiar faces within this beautiful society that we have in Kenton, Louisiana. We are for the people as the American People's Party, protecting rights, freedoms, and our national border for the protection of all citizens in the United States of America. Thank you.
Our final candidate on the stage is Mr. Leah Murray with the Demogorgons.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Murray. It's really nice to see this great turnout. I hope y'all make the great choice for this lovely country of America, and have a great day, and hope y'all make the great choice of voting for the Demogorgons.
Excuse me, I have also one other thing to say before we get this debate going on. It's only fair. It's more than 30 seconds. It's only fair in this presidential debate of the United States of America that we say the American pledge, right? Right? Somebody get us a flag. I'm asking you if y'all would please stand. Everybody loud and proud. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
I will call security. All right, y'all, let me have your attention. Candidates specifically, I'll kind of explain the ground rules of the process in which this will work. We have 16 random questions here in these two containers with 2 addressed to each of you parties. I will draw them by random. We will have 3 rounds. The first round will consist of 1 set of the 8 questions. The second round will consist of another set of 8 questions. The third round, you will have the opportunity to question one other party at the sitting down. So those will be the 3 rounds we will do. The way the questioning will work, I will ask you a question. I will give you and your vice president or your assistant 30 seconds time to come up with an appropriate answer. Keep your eye on me. I will be looking at you. I will let you know when your time is up. You will have a minute to speak for both round 1 and round 2. We all understand that? Yes, sir. For the third round, okay, the mics will go down this way. They will come back to me in the same way they will in round 1 and round 2. And you will have only a few seconds to ask your question to your opponent. Your opponent must respond immediately, and they will have a minute to respond to the question. Is that clear? All right, let's begin. The first question. Candidate Jack Roberts. According to your campaign rally, how would lowering the age of consuming and buying alcohol prevent prisons and jails from becoming overcrowded with all the crimes that come associated with alcohol, like DWIs and domestic abuse? Remember, in a minute to respond. Not done yet.
So as I also said in my campaign rally, the legal age for adulthood in this country is considered 18 years old, right? Right? But they are postponing adulthood-like rights to 21. Why not, as I said in my campaign rally, let adults be adults and do adult things? Right? Exactly. Like I said, you can own guns in the military, but you can't buy one at 18. Exactly. I mean, legalize DWIs. It's not just 18-year-olds that do that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure y'all all seen on the news a dude older than 30 getting wrecked, right? And stuff like that. Okay, well, he is an adult, and at 18, you're also an adult. And in my opinion, that is a choice for the people of America to decide. Do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? I'm an adult. I can make those decisions.
Abigail Earl has a response to that.
My question for you would be, do you know the effects that alcohol has on your brain at such a young age? Your brain is not fully developed at the age of 18. That's my only comeback for that.
Jack, I'll allow you 30 seconds for a quick response and we'll go on to the next question.
Yes, what I would like to say that is almost every chemical affects your brain in some kind of way. At 21, your brain is also not very fully, what's that? Developed. So, either way, at 21 or 18, when you're legally adult at 18 through 21, all the way to when you die, it wouldn't.
Next question. It's for the Green Beans. Green Beans, as you are the environmental party, that is correct. What is your plan on monitoring to the pollutants, all of the pollutants, let into the air by recycling plants? You have a minute. Don't worry, 30 seconds.
We believe that that factories should be regulated to provide their amount of pollutants that are put out in the air to a federal agency that is going to mandate how much that factory can produce or cannot produce and how much they're giving back to the environment to make sure that any law that is passed is clearly specific and effective.
Candidate Jack Roberts has a question.
I have a question for all those plants that let out carbon dioxide. Say they reach that goal early in the year. Are you going to shut down that whole plant and lay off all those people?
No, I don't think that should be the wise thing to do for anybody that is guaranteed a job in a plant that works with pollutants or any other substance released into the air. I think the best thing to do for any plant that meets that requirement, I would say to lay off on production, but keeping employees employed in other areas of business for that plant.
Good job. Next question. This for the Blue Dogs, Ms. Abigail Earl. In your campaign rally, you discussed replacing the Electoral College. What are you planning on replacing the Electoral College with? Will it be the majority vote?
Whenever we discussed the replacement of the Electoral College, we had said that as a replacement for the Electoral College, we would say instead do more of a, base your votes more on the fact of how many people there are, not so much like in your state as a whole, but more as like lumping together. Someone else had the same idea, I want to say it was Jack, had the same idea of lumping together your like counties and parishes and then doing that as a population and not so much going off of just the state population.
Next question. New Horizon, Ms. Kara Pousson. In your speech, in your campaign rally, you mentioned increasing taxes on the rich. How do you justify a tax increase of wealthy Americans when these are the capitalist Americans who built this country?
In response to that, most of big businesses, like, I can't think of any examples right now, most of their revenue comes from stocks and bonds, not from their actual businesses. And more like the middle class is the people who shaped our economy, not the higher class. So really, I don't. The question's invalid.
Mr. LaCour, you have a response?
So, you're telling me that your thoughts of taxing the rich, right? Okay, so, and you're saying that the middle class has too much burden on them from taxes, right? Okay, so the reason that you think that the upper class should be taxed, why not give them a tax break? You know, they take those 20, let's say they take 40%. Cut this down to 22%, you know, give them 22% of their annual income. They take that, put that back in their business. They hire more employees. Now you have more middle class employees, and at 20%, giving more to the economy. So do not tax the higher and have more.
I agree.
So you're saying I changed your mind?
Not necessarily change my mind, but you open my mind to more possibilities. Not exactly change it.
Very good. Next question. Chloe Olive and the Bayou Bugs. According to your campaign rally, vaccines would be mandatory, correct? How would you handle a case when religious beliefs would conflict with vaccination?
As we talked in our campaign rally, as Lance did, yes, we do think vaccinations will be mandatory, but not by the government. I believe vaccinations should be mandated by a school. Schools cannot be prejudiced to one student because of their religion, because we practice free religion within our country, which is one of our amendments. As a party, we think that schools should mandate vaccinations, not the government. Thus, when religious comes into the part, it's at the school's jurisdiction, not the government's.
Next question. Jedi Order. Chandler Core. Your name is the Jedi Order, correct? Which implies that you like Star Wars. If that is the case, what is the name of Boba Fett's ship in Episode 5?
I don't even need the mic. Slave 2.
Can anybody confirm if that was correct? Oh, wait a minute.
It's slave 1.
It is Slave 1. All right, let's move on. Next question. Demogorgons, Ms. Aaliyah Murray. You plan on raising the minimum wage. How much do you plan on increasing the minimum wage in this country?
We would increase minimum wage from no more than, not to $10, but a little less than $10, but more than $7. Because if you raise minimum wage for more than $10 or more dollars, then that would result in over 50,000 loss in jobs, and that would result in employment being decreased.
Final question for this round goes to Ms. Morgan Schoenrock and House Party. Ms. Morgan Schoenrock, your party is for free rights for everyone, correct?
Correct.
How would you exclude women from being drafted?
It's not that we are excluding women from being drafted, it's that we are not making them forced to be drafted, and it would be their choice. There'd have to be mothers, there'd have to be nurses, doctors, people here that know how to support the citizens of the United States.
We're going to go on to round 2 of the questioning. We're going to go on to round 2. First question of round 2 goes to Abigail Earl and the Blue Dogs. How would you increase minimum wage without causing drastic inflation?
As I said in my rally video, we decided we had said to support the legalization of marijuana for medical use, which would therefore give us more money. That money would go towards increasing minimum wage, the increase of teacher pay, more money into education, the decreasing of student loan debt, and medical care.
Next question. Chandler in the Jedi Order. What process do you intend on implementing for immigrants to become legal citizens?
30 seconds to think.
So basically, we feel that today in America, that what Trump has done with the process of wanting to build a wall, which I completely 100% am behind of building that wall. But currently, to me, the process is a little too, I think that, you know, if you have no reason to be in America, you know, come here. I honestly do not even think that, you know, background checks need to be way thoroughly more done. I don't think that if, you know, immigrants come into America and if they have a child, I don't think that that child should be made American. You know, that's, to me, that's wrong. Because, you know, most countries who ban immigration thoroughly, they don't allow this to happen. I don't think we should. We're one of the greatest countries of all time, and I don't think we should stoop below and just let people just come into our country and ruin it for us. Take away our jobs, take away our money.
All right, we have a response.
Okay, so you say that you don't want anybody coming into America, and we are one of the best countries. We are one of the best countries because we're a country for the people and the free people. We want new Americans, don't we? Why would you shun away a person and separate families? That's just crucial and mean to a person. Why would you do that to a family?
Jana, like response quickly. Give me a response.
So, first of all, I didn't say that I didn't want immigrants completely out of here. So, if you, okay, so you say that I'm saying that I'm ripping families apart. I am not allowing immigrants in here in the first place, and you say ripping them apart. They will not have kids in our country in the first place. I will not allow that. So there will be no tearing apart of any families. You stay in your country, we stay in ours.
I'll allow another response. Morgan Schoenrock.
Chandler, do you know how we got to America today? Immigrants seeking asylum for religious beliefs, the American dream. How could you not let immigrants in when that's how we all came here today?
All right.
Legal immigrants are allowed.
Next question for the Green Beans. The Green Beans, you have a radical idea of increasing teacher pay. Is that a fact? A merit-based system. How will you decide if it's the teacher's fault, the student's fault, or the system's fault for the teacher's pay merit system?
We believe that the structure of teacher pay needs to be addressed first. There needs to be an efficient manner where all teachers know what they're getting paid, how to get that reward, and how that income is going to come to them. As far as knowing if it's the student's fault or the teacher's fault, I believe in non-biased observations to go year-round through teachers' classrooms that are unannounced. So teachers just have to be themselves.
Next question. House party, Ms. Morgan Schoenrock. You mentioned in your speech that you would allocate taxes more efficiently. What do you mean, and how do you plan on going about this? 30 seconds.
Also, in my campaign speech, I mentioned how we would not support the wall and how the taxpayers' money that would go towards that wall would go back to our society.
Next question, Demogorgons, Ms. Leah Murray. In both of your speeches, you mentioned two separate views on abortion. What is your official stance?
My final stance on abortion would be the pro-life view. We don't feel that people should have the choice of aborting a baby that they did have a conscious view in creating. But we do feel that if someone is raped, they should have the choice in having to take the baby away. But only if they're in the right stance. And that is all.
Next question. Chloe and the Bayou Bugs. In your speech, you advocated nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is known to be extremely dangerous and unpredictable. What would you do to prevent a situation like Chernobyl from happening, and what would be your response if a situation like Chernobyl happened in the United States?
Yes, there is many dangers that do come along with nuclear energy and nuclear power plants. But in nuclear plants, there is a lot of good things that come along with the side of them too. Look at Louisiana itself. Look at the new LNG plant that was just built in Cameron Parish. There's almost hundreds of jobs being created daily for our state. Imagine if they were across our country. That would immaculate and make more jobs for all of them. If there was a devastation like what's happened in Chernobyl, I would take on, from head on, we would take on the project as it sees fit. I think also there needs to be more regulations on how things go on a day-to-day basis. Look at what could go wrong. Let's try to eliminate the possibility of a danger, have more rules, more precautions, people being extra safe to keep those devastations from occurring.
One response, Ms. Abigail Earl. Please close it, Abigail.
Okay, first of all, you did not address the question. The question was, what would you do to prevent something like Chernobyl from happening? That, you did not say what you would do to prevent it. However, the effects from Chernobyl are still being witnessed today. Today, you can still see the effects of it. That is a nuclear explosion that happened, causing, you can't even live there anymore. So, what would you do to prevent that from happening here? And how do you justify letting it happen here?
In the first response, I did say that I would put in more precautions and more safety hazards to prevent those from occurring. And I do think that, look at the fossil fuel effects on our country today. Global warming, anything. What's the difference between if a nuclear happened? We can prevent that. With more jobs and more faith, America's going to be a better place when less unworking people. We need more working people, more money in our country, and that's going to happen with nuclear power plants rather than fossil fuel plants.
Bell's gonna ring shortly, guys. I want to finish up. Next question. For New Horizons, Kara Puso. Where is the money for increasing teacher salaries going to come from if it will be regulated by the government?
Where did I ever say that it would be up to the government where the money would come from? I don't know where that question would have came from. Invalid question.
Hold on, one more question.
And the final question for the debate goes to Mr. Jack Roberts and the American People's Party. In your rally speech, Mr. Roberts, you said that you wanted capital punishment, and a speedy death row, but you also said all lives matter. Which is it?
Listen to this. The government as it was meant to be was one that was not pro-choice, not pro-life. Its opinion was out. But I say if somebody murders somebody, if there is rape of somebody to where they are dead, they cannot come back, and that person is alive with that honest conscience, why do we need those people in our country? And why do we need the taxpayers paying millions of dollars?
Got one response.
I have one question. How are you, Jack Roberts of Kinder, Louisiana, here to say who gets to live or die?
How does killing another man make you any less guilty than killing a man that killed another man?
What y'all don't know, because I didn't say it in my campaign rally, and I knew this question was going to come up, there will be a jury that will stand trial for death row, as it always is. How am I to say that? How is she to say that she's for abortion? How are you to say that we don't need a wall? How are you to say that we need to stop paying our carbon taxes? This is America, folks, where ideas and opportunities come for the better of the American people. And I say we need a fair, safe, protected society.
All right, let me have your attention. Really quickly, we're going to go into round 3 of the questioning. All right, we got to finish up pretty soon as time's going to come to a close. Now, I'm going to refresh the rules again for y'all really quick. Each candidate will be able to address one issue with one candidate, okay? And you will also have one response, one rebuttal. That's it. As in, if the question is, say, to Chandler and he chooses to question Ms. Morgan, Chandler will have, Chandler will be able to come back and talk to Morgan, as well as Morgan address Chandler again. But only one rebuttal, and make it quick, 30 seconds, okay? The first question will go to Mr. Chandler LaCour and who he chooses to question.
So, first question, only question, goes to the House Party. Just a simple question. You mentioned in your speech that you intend to increase teacher pay by closing loopholes in our funding. Can you elaborate on these loopholes?
There have been cases in our judicial system where political leaders have stolen government money that would go towards our school. We plan to come up with better laws and resources. to close up those loopholes.
Abigail Earl and the Blue Dogs, y'all are up.
Okay, my question is directed towards Aaliyah, the Demogorgons. My question for you is, how do you justify killing a child, even under the circumstances of rape, incest, whatever the circumstances may be? How do you justify that as opposed to adoption or any other? There are many options nowadays. So how do you justify that?
There's honestly no way to justify abortion, but according to most research, it's shown that by allowing people who are raped to abort babies, giving them the choice, it has allowed decreasing in abortion in general, in total. So by doing that, you decrease abortion.
My only question is, like, nowadays there's so many different ways. There's therapy. There's so many things that you could possibly do as opposed to killing a child. I just see there's no reason for it.
All right. This is Kara Pousson, New Horizons.
Since we're on the topic of abortion, Bayou Bugs. I don't remember y'all ever saying anything about abortion in your rally video. What's your views on that?
On Lance's behalf, we are for pro-life. He believes, except for in the same situations as Aaliyah would, in the sense of rape and incest and those type situations. Because yes, there is abortion, no, that is a child, there is a life there. You shouldn't kill a child, an unborn innocent child. But when a person is raped, think about it. Think if you were taken advantage of, hurt, beaten, bruised, and the child was a replication of that, an everyday living image of the torture and horrible things that man put you through as a woman, and you would have to be put through that. Why would you want a living reminder of that? But only in those situations. Other instances, no, a woman should not ever have a chance just because she wants to do something, have a chance to, whoops, made a mistake, let me get rid of it. No, only in horrible situations such as rape. Should abortion ever be okay? No.
So basically, you're pro-choice. You just contradicted yourself.
Wait, say it again.
You just contradicted yourself. She said.
Okay, yes, I did. I know it's contradictory, but I don't think, so I'm not completely pro-life. The Bayou Bugs are not completely pro-life. They're pro-choice to an extent. We think that it should have regulations in a way to be able to organize it to where it's only in detrimental situations to a person's own humility and humanity.
Next question goes to the Green Beans.
This question goes to the Jedi Order. You speak of legalizing marijuana for medicinal and recreational. Why recreational if you're going to put it out there for people to use and hurt themselves?
So this, we're putting one thing into the environment, right? Into society that hurts everybody, right? Cigarettes, that affects people. Alcohol, meth, cocaine, all this stuff. But if we can legalize marijuana, like much of the rest of us, as my fellow partner Jack, on the other hand, if we can legalize this will bring lots of money into our economy. And with our $23 trillion in debt, I think America needs it. And to get out of this debt is something that I feel we should resort to.
So you want to allow young people, especially those that in our youth here, to use marijuana legally, damage their brains, and make money off of that.
Well, I think it will be a law that will be set just as anything else. You know, there will be an age restriction, and just as Jack said, you know, once you become adults, you're an adult. You can make these decisions. People risk their lives every day. You know, every time you get behind the wheel of a vehicle, you risk your life. Every time you get in an airplane, you risk your life. There's risk all around us. So, like I said, we need to get rid of this deficit, so it's something that I feel we should resort to immediately.
House party, Morgan Schoenrock. You're up.
To Maddie Young and the Green Bean Party. On the topic of capital punishment, in 2014, a study was conducted and 4.1% of inmates awaiting execution were innocent. How do you know if your evidence is faulty, and what would you do if the wrongly were convicted?
We believe that any criminals put to death row should be tried by a jury that is completely unknown to the criminal, so that they can assist the manner without bias, without previous knowledge of the criminal or the case. That way, they can completely acknowledge the fact if the guilty is guilty or if they are not.
But it's not about the biasy of the jury, it's about the evidence that was being wrongly executed in court.
Any evidence is hard evidence. They will use anything against you. So they'd have to have full, like a dead body or something hardcore that like they could tell like it could not be any other person. Like if there's any question, like if you have to question it, then it's not hardcore. Like they probably didn't do it.
All right. President's up to say.
Next, Ms. Chloe Oliver.
Question for the Demogorgons. What is your outlook on agriculture in America? How do you plan to take on agriculture?
We feel that agriculture in the U.S. is very beneficial. For example, it helps with bringing in money for us, making money for us, which is basically the same thing. But either way, it gives us money, helps with the debt, helps bring other countries money for their debt, and helps make allies for our country.
Yes, we all know agriculture is good, but did you know only 1% of the American farmer feeds the 99% of the American people? Why? We have to improve farming and make it better and get more farmers started and starting at a young age. Yeah, we know it's good, but you have to improve it.
I like to point out like most food. You do realize that most of the food is imported anyway, right? So most of the food, so most of the food is imported, as I said. So, and most of the food is,
I did not know that at all, but I'm glad that you have informed us, informed me, so if I am elected president, I'll do something about said situation.
The reverse.
You want to shout out at William?
Can I always ask a question to one parties?
No, not yet.
No.
Mr. Roberts and the American People's Party, you're up.
All right, this goes out to the House Party. It was something you said in your campaign rally about how even out of the womb, the baby's its neck was clipped and the limbs were ripped. Where has that happened, and how many babies has that happened to? Because that's illegal.
I'll have my vice president answer that for me.
It is actually legal in about 17 states that you can have your baby and have the back of its neck clipped, which is very unfortunate for America today, but it is allowed and it is not illegal. Actually, it might, I'm gonna tell the truth, it might not be 17 complete states, but it is legal in some states.
What states are they? If she's wrong about one thing, what else can she be wrong about?
May I call someone from the crowd? We have no response at this moment.
It seems like we have a crowd response. We have some data.
To the American People Party, 29 states.
And our final party, y'all, Demogorgon, Miss Aaliyah Murray, you can direct one question towards another party.
For the Blue Dog Party. Question: how in the world would you deal with the government debt? Like, how would you deal with it? How would you for you, Blue Dogs? Yes.
Like we said before, the legalization of marijuana would produce lots of money. There's $13.7 billion to be exact, which could be directed into many different places to help relieve some of that debt. You just asked me what I would do with the money to help the debt. To help with the country's debt.
Whoa. Where would you where is it?
How would you properly determine who deserves the money for said debt?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you how I would determine it right now. I would probably have to ask, there were surveys, look at the statistics, different charts, see what area in the country needs it the most. And that's where I would send it. That's how I would determine where to send it.
All right, now we will have closing statements. Each team, y'all will have about 30 seconds to a minute to close out, and we'll end this.
Well, this was very interesting. For everyone who was running, I think everyone did a very great job. So like I said, before, Elmo Schmitz 2020, Jedi Order. May the force be with you all.
Once again, I'm your presidential candidate, Abigail Earl. This is my Vice President, Shay Shattuck. Y'all definitely give her an applause because she has done so much work for our party. Once again, if you need a new voice, a new vision, or a choice for better change, vote blue.
Calm down. Thank all y'all for coming out for the campaign. Very interesting, as I said. Everybody did great. Vote New Horizons.
And we're sorry about all the invalid questions that we couldn't answer anything good.
Thank you all for coming out. Fellow Beans, thank you for supporting me as your president.
Wow. I just want to say thank you all for being here and becoming educated about your future 2020 president candidates. I don't know why we were so attacked for one of our strong core beliefs about pro-life, but I'm glad y'all were here to hear it.
I'm here, as I said, I was speaking for Lance Willis today, and on behalf of the Bayou Bugs, we first want to wish good luck to the girls basketball team tonight in their first round playoff game against Wellington Oakdale. Vote Lance to help you light the way to success in America.
Thank you all, everybody, for coming. Thank you all, you beautiful, amazing American people, for showing up on this amazing day today. I know it's a little wet outside, y'all be safe on those roads. Now don't forget that the American People's Party is for the American people. We are always for the better of the society, protecting your rights, your freedoms, and this amazing nation.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody who helped with the campaigning for our team, especially people who weren't even associated. And hope you have a great life.